You need to be here. If you don't already know it, this is the best time of year to be in the Black Hills, for any reason. But if you like to ride on something with wheels and a motor, this is the best time of year to be here. The 6 weeks between Labor Day and the middle of October is our season. Why is that, you may ask? Well, summer is for families and kids. This is locally known as the Griswold season. This is when Mom, Pop, Rusty, and Audrey pile into the family truckster and head out for their annual 2-week trek into the West. Don't get me wrong, we love summer tourists and we love families. They're a lot of fun. We often talk to them. It's great stuff. But they do tend to clutter up the roads and, well, at least in my opinion, they bring too many little germ terrorists. These are commonly called kids. Don't think I hate kids. I don't. It's just that I don't like to be in a restaurant when sweet little Becky is kicking the backside of my booth. You know what I mean. I'm sure the kids in your family are wonderfully sweet and well behaved. So this doesn't apply to your family at all, or anybody you know. Just saying. Well, that takes care of summer. Meanwhile, spring. Let's talk about spring. Spring is for the granola set. These are the backpackers, hikers, bikers, and all the rest of these physical people. They've been cooped up all winter reading their RIE catalogs. They've been watching YouTube videos about grand outdoor adventures far, far away. And they're ready to get out of their crowded apartments. These people, and they're good folks, they can't wait to get out on the trail with their new $400 hiking boots or their $5,000 bicycles. Tell you the truth, spring is like a deluge of Gore-Tex. You definitely don't want to meet these Gore-Tex wearers on the trail. Trust me there. And they don't want to see you, or worse, hear you. Not all of them are hostile to motorized sports. But, in the words of Ramo Gaggi, why take a chance? At least that's the way I feel about it. Look it up. And then there's winter. Winter is a time reserved for we, the locals. We've been busy all summer, and in the spring and in the fall, taking care of tourists and doing the other things that we do in the industry. And winter is when we get some time off. This is the time when we like to ram our ATVs through 3-foot snowbanks or cross ice-covered streams without breaking through. We're not afraid of bad weather because we know there is no such thing as bad weather, only bad clothes. Which brings us to the fall. Now. Yes, now. This is the time when you need to pack up and enjoy the best the Black Hills has to offer. This is the dry season. You can generally count on pleasantly warm days with highs in the mid-70s, right into mid-October. Sure, we've been known to have early winter storms, which are generally not favored by motorcycle riders. But early winter storms are rare. The last one, I believe, was in 2013. In most years, we don't see severe weather until well into November or even late December. Last year, the first storm came in about the third week of November. On the other hand, summers can be really hot, with temperatures frequently reaching into the 90s or even 100s, and the humidity can be high. Worse still is the constant threat of heavy rain, thunderstorms, lightning, and hail. All summer long there will be a thunderstorm passing somewhere over the Black Hills, and you're probably going to be in it sooner or later. Just count on it. It's not a lot of fun getting caught on a trailer on the road when you got hail. Trust me on that one. Spring is almost always wet in the Black Hills. That is our rainy season. This year the spring rains were so bad the Forest Service closed many popular ATV and UTV and off-highway riding areas which haven't opened. They remain closed all summer long. So here we are in the fall. And if you're into trail riding, this is definitely the best time of year to be here. Trees that may have been down in the spring and summer storms have probably been cleared or at least moved off the trails. You're less likely to run into swollen streams or muddy spots. Most trails are more likely to be open in the fall than other times of years. And because it's the end of summer, the lines through the trails are easy to spot. And if you know how to follow a line, this is pretty important, or can be important. If you're into road riding, you can bask in the knowledge that most road construction has ground to a halt. And the roads are pretty much clear or smooth. There's no more sand or gravel or anything like that on the roads. They're pretty clean. In the spring, that's not always the case. There's a lot, usually in the spring, the roads can have this little fine gravel on it that was dropped with the ice in the wintertime, and they haven't got around to cleaning it up. So these can make some curves really interesting. We call it ice melt gravel, by the way. You still get some wet pine needles on the road, maybe leaves here and there, but by and large, the pavement's going to be good to go. Aside from the weather, another great reason to come to the Black Hills in the fall is that it's just less crowded. This is true. It can be quite crowded in the summer, at least by our standards, but in the fall, not so much. This doesn't matter to trail users who are going to find uncrowded trail almost all year long. But if you're a highway user, this is great. To folks from cities, and by our standards, any city with over 100,000 people is a big city. Traffic here is going to seem non-existent, no matter when you come to the Black Hills. Even the busiest times of the year, roads are not crowded, and traffic generally moves quickly. But I'm not talking about Sturgis. That's the 1 week of year when things are different. But for the rest of the year, the other 51 weeks, traffic's going to be light almost everywhere in the Black Hills. Fall is best because it's even lighter. And there are fewer slow-moving tourists who tend to stop anywhere for no reason without warning. The only downside is there seems to be a lot more big RVs driven by 85-year-old drivers in the fall. If you're an adventure or sport rider, or you just like to cruise, you'll really appreciate the open roads in the Black Hills this time of year. And this is also the time of year when the leader bike crowd comes out. They like to try their new personal bests on Iron Mountain or Vanover Canyon roads. And you're just going to see them. Sure, carving a 20-mile-an-hour curve at 65 is not any sane person's idea of fun. But this is the time that these guys, and as far as I know, they're all guys, show up. Of course, having fewer tourists means things quickly get less expensive. Dare I say cheaper. Motels and campgrounds usually lower their rates in the first week of September, which is locally called the shoulder season. In October, the rates will drop even further. I did a quick online check of rates in Keystone, and hotel rooms that cost $169 in July were going for $89 by mid-September. Campground prices also drop as the season closes, but not quite so dramatic as motel or hotel prices. Also, if it's your thing, souvenir shops often deeply discount their merchandise this time of year. They want to move out this year's stock so they can buy new stuff for next year. And you can find some real deals, especially in rally t-shirts, or other rally gear for that matter. Yeah, I know. You didn't actually go to the rally, but who's going to know? A good story is a good story, right? Doesn't have to be true. The downside is that right after the summer rush, seasonal businesses also start to close. And these businesses do include motels and campgrounds. Even so, there's always availability somewhere, so lodging is not going to be a problem. And reservations may not be necessary, but if you're the kind of person that likes to make sure of things, it doesn't hurt to make reservations. On the other hand, if your idea of fun is tourist attractions like cave tours or zip lines and stuff like that, a week or two after Labor Day, you're going to be out of luck. A lot of these places close up. Some restaurants are seasonal as well, but maybe that's a good thing. Restaurants that stay open all year have to have local patrons, and this might suggest that the food is good and the prices are reasonable. May not suggest that, but that's one way of looking at it. If you are a camper, you need to remember that nights are always cool in the Black Hills, even in the summer, but especially in the fall. They can even be quite cold. The first frost of the season often happens this time of year, and early snowstorms, though uncommon, can occur. Now, keep this in mind if you plan to boondock, especially in remote locations or at higher elevations. Not everybody enjoys being snowed in until spring. Think Donner Party on that one. Oh, by the way, it wasn't a real party. That's a hint. Even when the weather's great, say sunny and dry and 80 degrees in the afternoon, it can get darn cold after the sun goes down. It's common for temperatures to drop as much as 50 degrees in a few hours. More than a few campers have folded their tents and started looking for rooms at midnight. That's not unusual. Finally, and I know you've been waiting for this is the season for fall colors. This is when the trees and the bushes and everything turns on. Granted, most of the trees in the Black Hills are coniferous, that being pines and firs. They don't change color. But throughout the hills you'll see stands of aspen, oak, ash, maple, and quite a few other trees. And they can be brilliant because the soil here isn't that good, so it's not exactly New England, but it can be pretty good. If you want to see the colors, Upper Spearfish Canyon is the most popular place to go. Most anywhere in the northern hills is good. I should note that US 14 through Spearfish Canyon can actually get busy on the week when the colors peak. And that's going to be a lot of local people, by the way. The big trick is being here when the colors show up. As a generalization, and this is broad, the last week of September and the first week in October are the most likely times for peak viewing of fall colors. And that's going to be wrong because you don't know. Some years when the fall is warm, they don't peak in color until later in October. And sometimes when we have a cold, windy September, then the colors peak earlier. So it's hard to know exactly when it's going to be, and it's usually going to be within a 4-week range, but that's a big range. Hope you enjoyed this video and found the information useful. I post videos on YouTube mostly when I feel like it, which lately has been about once or twice a month. So if you like this stuff, you can find more at the Lion Springs channel. You'll have to look it up because YouTube's not very good about their algorithm pointing us out, because we're not commercial or anything. Everything we do is just kind of like a labor of love. We don't have any dog in any fights, so we don't monetize this channel or anything. We just put this up because we like the hills and we think you ought to like it too. That said, once again, thanks for watching. Hope you come back for the next one. Bye.